What is up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of FitBizU. I'm your host, Jill Coleman, and we are in our mindset series. We are doing 5 episodes in this mindset series, and this is part 2. And this is a really juicy one. So what I did was I actually asked my audience on Instagram. I said, hey, if you are in the beginning stages of starting or growing your business, what are some of the biggest mindset challenges that have come up for you? Mindset being like just getting in your own way. Like when I say the word mindset, I don't mean like woo-woo stuff. I mean like literally, how are you self-sabotaging? What are your limiting beliefs? How are how are you doubting yourself? It's anything that's just not a strategy. So a strategy would be like post on social media every day. And now we know this, you're listening to this and you're like, yes, intellectually I get post on social media every day. But what are the reasons that come up that keep you from doing that? I'm not good enough, or this person is going to judge me, or I feel weird putting this on my friends and family Facebook page, whatever it is, right? So those are mindset challenges, obstacles or blocks that come up that have nothing to do with what to do. And if you're listening to this and you're a coach, you realize that you work with people too, and very few of our clients don't know what to do. Like, for example, if you're working with someone in their nutrition, you don't have to tell them that they shouldn't be eating ice cream. Like they know that, so it's not about information so much as about implementation. And so a lot of the blocks and some of the barriers to implementation or integration, actually doing it, are the things that happen between your ears. And so when I talk about mindset, that's really what we're talking about. And I sort of asked on Instagram, what are some of your biggest mindset challenges? And there's a lot of overlap. So if you ever think to yourself like I'm the only one struggling with this, y'all, I had hundreds of responses and they pretty much all fit into like 5 buckets of stuff. So don't ever think that you're alone or you're the only one feeling that way. In fact, if you are feeling that way, chances are everyone else does as well, which is why I want to do these episodes. All right, so part 2, mindset. And I want to answer the question of how to feel like you are worth it, quote unquote worth it, and charging the right price for it. So a lot of times and this sort of falls into also this idea of, how do I know I can get people results? What if I'm not good enough? What if I get a client and I can't get them a result? Or it's sort of, I guess, this imposter syndrome of like, am I good enough? Am I worth it? And am I charging the right price for it? Now, here's the deal. When it comes to pricing, you'll have people on social media or a coach that you follow being like, charge what you're worth. And we'll just be like, double your prices, triple your prices. I think that's a nice soundbite, and I actually like the idea of that. To me, there is a time and a place for a lot of increase in your price. However, you have to feel confident with it too. So if you feel like that is just outrageous and I don't even know that I could say that price out loud, then chances are then it's not right for you to say, right? Because people can feel the energy of that. If you don't believe in what you're selling and you're not sold on your offer, then they're definitely not going to be sold on it. So if you're like, it's $500, and it's like a scary thing for you to say and the energy is not there, then they're not going to feel confident in their decision to spend that either. So you need to feel confident saying it. Now, again, let's say you pick a price point that quote unquote, is probably a little bit too low for you. You just get some wins at that price, right? Just be like, cool, it's just like a no-brainer for people. I sign up everyone I talk to. Okay, that's probably a sign that I need to increase my price, but you don't have to double it. Increase it by $50 a month. Start there. Increase it by $100 a month. Start there. Totally fine to do that. And you'll know when there's sort of a threshold. You're like, yep, this is the point at which I'm good. It's like a saturation point. And you'll get to the point where, you might have some old clients that that your price need to increase, things like that. But really the important part here is, how do you know you're worth it? And so I do want to validate the fact that maybe you do feel unworthy because you are unqualified. But here's the thing is, are you really unqualified, or are you just scared? Are you unqualified, or are you just scared? So this is one of my favorite tools. And I heard this from I heard about first from my brother, Danny, who does a lot in the coaching space. He has a podcast of his own called Take Care. And he talks about the concept of threads of success. So threads of success is where you call upon your previous successes, even in maybe different areas. So for example, let's say you're starting out online and you get your first virtual client and you're like, God, I hope I can get them a result. And you don't quite know, but you've been a personal trainer in the gym for a decade. You have to look back at how many clients you've worked with in person and the amazing results you've gotten for those people over 10 years and go, okay, I did it here in this one little area. Why can't I also do it online? And this is really important because oftentimes, confidence doesn't necessarily translate, right? It's like we can have confidence in one area, and we don't maybe have it in another area. But here's the deal. When you start out as a personal trainer 10 years ago, you weren't good either, right? You just got your training certification, and then what happened? You got one client. And maybe you weren't a great coach trainer for that client. I know I wasn't, especially in the early days. I'd be making people puke and all this kind of stuff. And I wasn't a good trainer, but over time I learned. And so you need to have that little bit of courage that says, I don't have any reps in this specific area, but I certainly have other examples in my life where I didn't have any experience. And over time, I built experience. And when I built experience, I built confidence. And so this threads of success is really realizing that you've done this before, you just haven't done it online. So you need to leverage that and let it fuel your ability to feel confident here as well. But, and Shantae always says this, is like, maybe you aren't ready to charge a premium price quite yet. And that's okay. But I will say that you should pay attention to that, charge what you feel comfortable at first, and then quickly increase it. So that's my big thing. It's like, hey, I'm not going to be this coach that's like, hey, you need to charge premium pricing or else you don't believe in yourself. It's like, you might not believe in yourself, and that's okay. But over time, you will start to believe in yourself as a result of the results. So start small and then quickly increase. You could literally month to month increase $50, $50, $50 over time as you start to see a show of evidence that you are good. So asking yourself, am I really not qualified? Chances are you are. You have the credential, you have the experience, or am I just scared? And chances are you're probably a little bit scared as well. One of the things that really helps me feel worth it and charge what I'm worth and really know deep down that I can help people is cultivating high self-worth. Now, this is something I learned from my mentor, Rachel Cosgrove, and it never left me because this is when I feel the most powerful or when I feel the most able to affect change for my clients and really bring them the strategy and the implementation and the things that they need is when I'm staying on the pulse of the industry. So it's only in moments where I'm sort of idling and I'm not learning and I'm not reading and I'm not, involved in coaching programs or mentorships or masterminds that I feel a little bit on shaky ground. Like, I'm like, am I really good at this, right? But if I'm constantly cultivating high self-worth by staying on the pulse of what's happening, getting in the trenches, listening to my clients, doing market research, signing up for mentorships, masterminds, coaching, I know that I have all the resources I need to be effective. So it's only been in those times in my business where, again, I've been in these like holding patterns, one of which makes sense. When I was going through my own sort of personal separation and divorce in my marriage, that was a time when I didn't really have a ton of emotional or mental energy to give to my business. It was sort of like just in a holding pattern. And because of that, I wasn't super engaged in coaching programs and mentorships and learning all of the new stuff. And that's when I tended to feel the least secure about my skills. And so cultivating high self-worth is just asking yourself, are you staying engaged? Are you getting better as a professional? Are you going to industry conferences? Are you going to live events? Are you signing up for mentorships, masterminds? Are you keeping your hand on the pulse of the industry? And if you're doing all of that, then you can rest assured that you are worth it. To me, this is one of my favorite things to tell my clients is like, hey, increase your prices because your, your value is actually increasing. You're listening to this podcast. That's not nothing. You're buying books. You're reading those. You are spending time going to live events. You're enrolling in coaching programs. Maybe you're an FBA or another program of mine. That's all money that you've invested in you. You deserve to increase your prices because of those investments. You are now worth more as a professional than you did before those things. Your time is literally in more demand. So, for example, if you're a personal trainer or you're a group fitness instructor or something and you're working with people in person, you go to the gym, you train your clients, and then you leave. And when you get home, you don't have to do anything. You're just like off, and that's great. Like, to me, that's awesome. There's no responsibilities. There's no extra stuff to do. But now you're starting to build your online business. So you're coming home after training clients and you're immediately creating social media posts and, creating content and building out your email list and writing email and doing all this other stuff. Your time is literally in more demand than it was before then. So you have to charge appropriately. You have to allow for your prices to reflect all of this personal development, business development that you're doing. Not only personal development and business development, but actually investment, like literally paying out of your pocket. You are now a more effective coach as a result of your investments. And I need to see that when you ask for someone to pay you. And don't assume that people can't afford it. I think oftentimes we think, well, I'll just stay cheap and then it'll be a no-brainer for people. Believe me, you'll be too expensive for somebody at whatever price point. You could be charging $10 a month and still be too expensive for somebody. So it's really not, there's not an absolute amount at which there's like a saturation point. In fact, there's whole schools of thought of people who are like, once you're ready, fucking really increase your prices, like 10x your prices, because there's something really almost attractive and compelling about that. People ask themselves like, wow, that's a lot of money. I wonder what that coach does for people. I wonder what they do that's so different that allows for them to charge that much. Again, you have to be able to bring it. You have to bring your ability and your skill set. But at some point, you'll know that, like I just made the decision at JillFit a couple months ago to be like, my hourly rate's $1,000 at this point. And because I don't really want to take on any more one-on-ones. And if I do, I want it to be worth my time because I'm doing so many other things in the business. There's other ways I could be spending my time. And so when your time becomes more in demand, you have to get discerning on your pricing. And that's just a reality of growing your business. Now, not only are you a trainer, group fitness instructor, you're coming home and you're being a CEO. You're being a business owner. So we have to see those prices increase. And again, all of these things around cultivating high self-worth, engaging. To me, I love investing in my business. I love investing in my personal growth as a professional because I know it's going to allow me to help way more people more effectively. So when I sign for a mastermind, I'm fucking stoked. I'm like, yes, I'm investing in me. And there's no better investment than investing in me. It's the best ROI I can get on my time and energy. All right, hopefully it's helpful for you guys. I know this is kind of an esoteric conversation, and it's one of those things where like intellectually you get it, like, oh, this makes sense. But really it's going to take the inner work for you to really just put yourself out there a little bit more than what's comfortable. It's going to take a tiny bit of courage and a tiny bit of just trusting yourself that you can deliver even as you increase your prices. But again, do the things that make you confident you can deliver. Like for me, if I'm signing up for coaching programs and I feel like I'm in the thick of it, I'm like, yes, I'm the best to do this. I'm literally the best coach out there because I'm staying on the pulse of what's working and what's not. And that's true, by the way. And by the way, I want you guys to feel the same way. Go to conferences, enroll in coaching programs, know what is happening with your people constantly, and you'll never feel like you're out of the loop. And you'll definitely feel like you're worth it. All right, that's it from you guys. We'll come back next episode with part 3, mindset. And hopefully you guys are liking these juicy episodes. And thank you again for your time and attention. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye, guys.